Awesome. So, hey, everybody, we're doing this call. It's myself and our director of training, Marc Accetta. What I want to do, guys, is before I bring Marc up to tell you guys a little bit about this amazing event we're doing, I want to just share a quick story, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this event called A View from the Edge. So, when I first got into network marketing, I got started in 2009. Some of you guys may have heard this story. And when I got into network marketing, I was 18 years old. So I was 18 years old, didn't have any experience being in business. And when I got into network marketing, I was just begging for somebody to teach me what to do, teach me the skills, show me the way. That's how I was. I was super coachable. And I figured that, hey, if I could find people that were super successful in network marketing and I could grab a hold of the information and the training and their know-how, everything they're doing, then I could have the same results in my business. So my first year in network marketing, I only made $13,000. My 5,000 of that 13 was in the first month. So I had a really good first month, but then after that, people in my team started to quit. So I got really good at bringing people into the business. If you looked at the leaderboard of that company, I was like number one on the leaderboard every single month. But you know what I sucked at? Duplication. Creating momentum in my organization, driving depth, taking a leader, helping that leader rank up. Like all of the other skills I had lacked, because the guy that got me into that company, that person, was only good at recruiting. So that's really all I knew, was how to recruit. And so, then, the first year in that company, the guy who got me into that business actually got terminated from the company. Unfortunately, he got terminated, and then his upline got terminated as well. First year in that company, those two guys got terminated. And some of you may have not heard this story, but I was getting ready to quit the business. I was on my way out of the business my first year. And, that happens to a lot of people in network marketing. It's like you get in, you get excited, you have, your first 6 months, your first 12 months, and then something happens in the company. Something happens, some circumstance happens where you have to make a critical decision. Do you stay in the business, or, do you exit? And I was on my way out. Now, fortunately, there was somebody that was in my upline that reached out to me and told me about an event that was happening. They reached out and said, hey, look, you got to get to this event. I know that things have been shaky in your business with your uplines getting terminated, but be there at this event. And so I said, you know what? This guy didn't call me like by accident, so I'm going to give it a chance. And I went to the event, and that event changed the rest of my career in network marketing, because when I got there, I realized that the business was a lot bigger than I thought. I lived in like a bubble, I thought that the world was on fire, and really what it turned out was it was only my world was on fire. There were a lot of other people having success in the company. There were other top leaders. There were other top ranked blue diamond top leaders in the business. And I didn't even know who they were. And so when I got to this event, and I saw people rocking the stage, getting recognition, and then I heard from all of these amazing trainers and speakers, and I'm sitting there thinking, wow, had I have had this information when I first started, I'd be light years ahead of where I am right now. And so that event, I made a decision that I was going to stay in the business. One of the guys that trained there, he said, look, if you give this thing 3 to 5 years, then you could hit the top of the company. You could, the whole 40-40-40 plan doesn't work. You can work for 40 years, do that, 40 hours a week, and you're supposed to retire off of 40% of your income. Or you can build this thing for 3 to 5 years, put your head down, put your blinders. Like, that was the information I was hearing. And then I learned how to sort at this event. I learned how to prospect. I learned all of these amazing skill sets. And then each month in that company, I grew a little bit. I started to bring better people in. I started to bring new people in. I started to create some new momentum. And I wound up hitting the top rank in that company when I had turned 19. So I was in for, my first year, and then like right after I turned 19, like within 6 months of attending that event, I hit the top of that company just like that. And then what happened was then the year after and the year after, my organization started to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so, I went from having, 100 people in my team to 1,000. And I thought, wow, I can't believe this. I have 1,000. I mean, I was a broke college kid. I have 1,000 people in my team. And we went from going from 1,000 people to more than 50,000 people in 6 years. And we did that from going to event to event to event. We did events all over Europe. I did a 21-day tour in Europe. Every single day we were in a different city. I went into, multiple countries in Africa doing events. And, that was how we created a ton of momentum in that company. So then fast forward, into MyDailyChoice. I mean, look, we've had a tremendous amount of success as a company. We're more than half $500 million in sales. We've put in over 1 million people into the company between affiliates and customers. We've launched 10 brands. We've had a lot of amazing accomplishments. But one of the things that we've been missing as a company, we had it for a little bit in 2018 and 19 when we started to really get events going. But one thing we've missed is having consistent, regular events that the field can plug into. Every 60 days, every 90 days, there's a big event to plug into. Now, part of that was the craziness that's happened in the world, because we went from doing 18 events in 1 year to doing 0 the next year. But times have changed now. Events are back, and so one of the things that happened during this chaotic world is a lot of companies said, okay, tech is the future, and they went high tech. We did that too. So now we're able to go out there and say, look, we've got the best tech in all of network marketing, but tech will never replace the human spirit, right? It'll never replace going belly to belly, having a face-to-face conversation, seeing people in person, going out to eat with your team, all of the recognition, being on stage, taking pictures. It will never replace all that. So it's important to have both high tech and high touch. And that's one of the reasons why we brought Mr. Marc Accetta on board, was to help develop this event system in MDC. And we've done now 2 events in the company. We did a European boot camp that was in Budapest. That event was incredible. There were leaders at this event from more than 20 different countries. So think about that. You had representation from 20 different countries coming to one event, and we set that place absolutely on fire. And now Europe is starting to see, more and more growth, new rank ups, a lot of momentum, and it's starting to spread like a wildfire there in Europe. Then right after Budapest, we went to Dallas. If you guys were there at the boot camp event in Dallas, it was also incredible. I mean, we had amazing trainers spoke at that event. We had a great Super Bowl party. The recognition was amazing. Everything about that event was just incredible. So those were the first 2 events that we've done. And so imagine, an 8-year-old company with all of this momentum, and we're high tech, and now we add these high touch events and we run them all over the world. Like, look, we're going to break some serious records in the industry. And so one of the ways that you guys can tap into this event system is, number one, always promote the next event. Whatever the next event is, you have to set everything aside, and that's the event that you promote, because you don't want to be the person in the company that, we announce an event, and then, a couple weeks before the event is where you start talking about it. Like right now, there's a window for this event, which is called a view from the edge. And if you get serious right now, if you take action right now and start promoting this to your team, even prospects, if you have big leaders that were interested, get this, at the Dallas boot camp, there were multiple 7-figure earners that flew into that event just to check out MDC. All of them signed up after witnessing the event. So you can use it as a recruiting tool, but you can also use it as the best retention, team building, tool that exists. So Without further ado, I'm going to bring up Marc to talk to you guys a little bit more about the event strategy and what you guys can expect out of View from the Edge, because this is a very different event than what you guys have experienced before. This is like going to like a Broadway show. Marc was talking about it at the event. The seats are like bolted to the floor. There's a limited number of seats available. It's not like you can add chairs or remove chairs. There's the red curtains, you know, so the curtains open. Marc comes out on stage and does just some of the most powerful training you guys will see in network marketing. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up our director of training, a legend in the game, Mr. Marc Accetta. Tell us a little bit about, you know, View from the Edge and why everybody in MDC should plug into it and start promoting it right now.
I will, brother, for sure. Well, first of all, I love your story because I have pretty much the same story. I was 9 months into business, going nowhere. You know, I've told this story at the event. Like, I just didn't know, my sponsor didn't know what he was doing. So I was very teachable. I was willing to do whatever he told me, but I didn't know what he was telling me was wrong. So thank God I ended up going to a company event 9 months into it. And I had a very similar experience. I didn't go to the top of the company in 6 months, but I made significant improvement within 6 months. And I was well on my way to hitting the top rank in the company. And I tell people all the time, if I had not gone to that event without a shadow of a doubt, I would have ended up quitting the business. There's no doubt I would have quit the business. So events are a big thing for me. I'm passionate about them because without them, my career wouldn't have existed. Now, as I'm sitting here, this is my 35th year. In the middle of July will be my 35th anniversary being in this business. Made loads of money, way more money than would have made anywhere else. And I have had such a rich, incredible life, traveling the world, working with amazing people, being able to channel a competitive part of who I am. So many things this industry has given me, and none of it would have been a reality if I had skipped that event. And the crazy thing is, let's put this in the equation. I didn't have the money to go to that event. I had to borrow the money to go to that event, which made it even more challenging. And there's loads of people right now that, you know, you got plenty of money. You could easily go, you could throw it on a credit card, do whatever, but you obviously don't see the value in the event. So there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about tonight that's very, very specific. In general, people who are satiated, people who are in our company, and they're, you know, satiated. That, like, if you're hungry and you eat, you're satiated, like you're full, like you're good. So if people are in and they're satiated, and they're good with where they are and they don't really want to grow and get better, well, there's no way they're going to go to an event. But then again, there's no way they're going to be successful, because if you have average results and you're happy with your average results, you're never going to push to get anything but average results. Remember, in the book Good to Great, it says that good is actually the enemy of great. So if you're satisfied, then there's really not much we can do with you. However, for the people who are in the company and they become dissatisfied with their financial situation, with their boss, with their work environment, with the amount of money they're making in the company, whatever the case might be, they're dissatisfied. Now there's a possibility of some real growth, because after being dissatisfied, the next step is people hit a breaking point. They just get to a point where they can't take it anymore, whether something happens really bad financially, or they get screamed at work and they can't take it anymore. Maybe they get laid off, maybe they get fired, or maybe they're in this company and for whatever reason, they just can't take it anymore. They're like, I am ready. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of getting where we are. That's when the next step comes in, which is so important. And that's a critical step. It's where people have a moment of insight. Now, let me tell you, if you don't have a moment of insight, you can be dissatisfied. You can hit your breaking point. But if you don't have a moment of insight, nothing is going to change. So this event, because of the unique nature of it, is going to help more people have their moment of insight than any other event I could possibly think of. All events that we are going to do are going to help people have a moment of insight. Josh had his moment of insight. I just got done telling you that the events that Josh and I went to were not over the top unique events like the View, but they were more than enough to have us have our moment of insight, because the last step is you're dissatisfied, you have a breaking point, you have your moment of insight, and last but not least, you're going to take massive new action doing things differently than you did before. That's the only way to have a significant change. And you've heard this before. It's not going to get easier. Quit wanting it to be easier. It's never going to get easier. The only way this works is you've got to get better. And the only way you get better is if you're not satisfied with what your results are. And if you have a moment of insight, the penny's got to drop in your brain, and you've got to realize that either A, you're not doing as much as you're capable of doing, either B, you've got to do what you're doing better, or C, you've got to change some of the things you're doing, but you've got to have that moment of insight, which creates the change and creates that massive new action you're taking. So as far as the event goes, I'll just explain to you, it's very hard to explain. Here's the problem with MDC in this event. I've never done it there. Now, if you're a convention, I did a character we call the Gambler, and we flipped cards. Okay, so that's a character, one of the characters at the View. At this most recent event, I went ahead and was able to do a second character. And that second character was a prisoner. And it was I wanted to do something dramatically different from the Gambler. So when people are able to see both of them, you can see there is a stark difference. Now, those characters I know had an impact during the course of those events, but the View is nothing really but characters. As far as what I'm doing, it's all characters. So instead of having one at the event, we're going to do about 15 to 20 of them at the event. And some of them are going to be really, really, really funny. You're going to laugh. We're going to have a great time. And they're all teaching you something. Again, want to make sure you understand the point. Years and years and years ago, before there were TV sets, I don't know what parents did to babysit their children during the day. If you were busy and you had something to do, what did you do? Well, when a TV set came out, parents all over the world, I guess in the 50s, were like, praise God, we have a TV set. And they started putting their little kids in front of the TV set, and they would sit there and watch. It would keep them mesmerized, and you could go and do whatever you need to do around the house without worrying about your kids getting into trouble. Well, that's good. That's a step in the right direction. Then, major breakthrough. Paradigm shift. They came out with a TV show called Sesame Street. And someone realized that you could still keep the kids entertained, but you could teach them at the same time. You could entertain while you're educating. And the best part is the kids had no idea what was going on. No little kid said, hey, mommy, turn on Sesame Street, because they wanted to learn. They wanted to turn on Sesame Street because of Big Bird and Ernie and Bert and all of the different entertainment. So imagine coming to an event where you take less notes than any training event you've ever been to in your whole life, but you remember more than any other event that's ever happened. The other thing is this: in order for a lesson to really sink in, these most powerful moments, the place where someone has their moment of insight, that's got to happen during a period of peak emotion. Now, think about watching a really intense TV show or a really intense movie, and they have those moments of truth, those moments of peak emotion. And because of the medium of film or live theater or whatever, you can have that dramatic experience. Well, that's what we're doing. But none of this is focused on the entertainment. It's all focused on the lesson. Long before I started acting the stuff out, because I thought it would be a powerful way to get the information into your unconscious mind so you use it. Long before that, I was wanting to teach you how to do the business. But some people, if you sit them down and you teach them lecture style, no matter how effective of a speaker you are, people just don't get the information. A lot of people are visual. Most trainings are audio only. You hear the information, that's it. So with this, you hear it and you see it, and you actually at points get actually immersed in it. So it's a very, very unique deal. We have a promo video on the website that gives you a pretty good idea. A lot of people who saw this promo video at the event, they came to me and said, wow, that video gave me goosebumps. And that's before you've even attended it. Wait until you've attended it and then you watch a video like that. It is going to give you even more of an emotional rush than you could possibly imagine. The point is, the video will give you an idea But we're going to come out with more and more assets that are going to explain more and more details. We're going to send out a series of 60-second clips that we'll put on reels so that people can see these clips and really start getting the idea. And go to Josh's point. Honestly, guys, whatever event is the next event is the one you got to get into. So the first event was boot camp. All roads led to boot camp. Boot camp is over. Now we're going to the View. After the View, we'll be going to the national convention. After convention, we'll be going to the next one. And the concept here is you as a leader build from event to event to event. And again, it's not the event, it's your attitude about the event that's going to sell the event. You have a lot of people on your team, and the vast majority of the people on your team are part-time. They don't know what's important, what's not. They're busy. They've got a life. They've got a job. They're doing MDC on a part-time basis. And even if they log in or back off, there's so many different things. What could they do? There's videos they could watch. What are they supposed to do? They need you as their core tour guide to tell them what they're supposed to do. So you've got to have a red hot attitude about the event. And it's hard to do that, by the way, if you're not registered. So first and foremost, I hope you're getting registered, because once you're registered, then and only then are you going to be effective at getting your team members to go to it. And I want you to think about this for a minute. Right now, let's say your business isn't going very well. And I hope it is, but let's just say your business isn't going very well. But let's just say you commit, you get registered for the event, and then because you're going, you decide to try to bring at least a few people with you. And imagine you bring someone on your team who's struggling like Josh was in his old company, and they come to the event and they pop like Josh did. And one of your legs goes to super affiliate within 6 months to a year. Are you going to be glad you went to the event and brought that person to the event? The obvious answer is yes. Now, here's the thing. Without the event, you could have that person on your team and they're never going to engage. And you know why? Because they're not going to have their moment of insight. Big decisions are made at big events. So I'm telling you guys, if you got people on your team and they are not gung-ho, all in, living for MDC, it doesn't matter when they get in the company. It matters when the company gets in them. And that happens when they have their moment of insight. So again, it's critical you get your people to all the events. All of them will help with that. This one helps it 10 times more than a normal event because of the unique theatric nature of it. Now, here's what's going on. I know a lot of people want to get on this tonight. And by the way, a lot of you are messaging and saying you registered, you got your ticket. That's awesome. I love you. Thank you. I know we got a lot of people registered, but guys, I want to sell this son of a gun out. So here's what we're doing. We have the price is normally $599. That's the price, $599. Now, I know in the past, MDC didn't do events that expensive. Believe me, when you walk into this theater, this is in a gorgeous theater in Nashville. It's a very new theater, and it's got all the bells and whistles. So you will be impressed. If you are bringing guests with you, if you're bringing first-time people on your team, they are going to have such an overwhelmingly high impression of the company and the way we do things, because you can't do a Broadway show in a garbage theater. You can't do a Broadway show in a high school theater. This is for real. This is major production. It costs the company a ton of money to do it. So $599. Now I'm telling you guys, if you had your moment of insight, $599 is the zit on the ass of your dog. That's nothing. That's an itty bitty. Could you imagine? I don't know what Josh paid to go to the seminar he went to all those years ago, but whatever he paid, would you agree he got way more than his money's worth? I can tell you what I paid for my event 35 years ago. It was $299. And I got way more than my money's worth, just like people who come to this event are going to get way more than their money's worth. And it's only $599. Now, get that locked into your head, because that's the price for selling the tickets at. However, we'd like to have an early bird special. And at the event, we let people register for only $399. So that's a big difference. $399 instead of $599 is a very, very big deal. And we announced that we were going to let it go and announce on tonight's call. Now, not only were we doing going from $599 to $399, But very importantly, in addition to that, anyone who registers up till this point, not only do they get the price of $3.99, but they also get a free audio of the entire event after the event. Guys, I'm just sharing with you. You have no idea how valuable that audio is going to be for this event. There's going to be so much of this that goes past you. Remember, you're in the theater, the lights are turned off. You're not taking notes during a character. So you are going to want to have the audio of this event more than virtually any event you've ever been to. So the offer is unbelievably, it's only $3.99 and you get a $100 value with the MP3. So instead of paying the $5.99 and $100 for the MP3, instead of paying $6.99, it's only $3.99. That's a ridiculous deal. That offer is about to go away. That offer, let me look here and be very specific, is good until 28th of February at midnight. Okay, so 28th of midnight, and that's California time. That price, that offer, that special offer goes away. Now, we're going to have a little bit of an offer still available, but it's not going to be that offer. It's never going to be this good again. So $3.99 and the free audio is good until February at 12 midnight Pacific Standard Time. Guys, that is really good news. I know a lot of people thought the deal was going to run out tonight, but we decided to extend it for a little more than a week. So you've got 1 week and 1 day to get to your people, but you just have to understand, again, your people are not going to know how important this is. Your people don't know it. They're part-time, moment of insight. They don't understand any of this stuff. What is a view from the edge? And again, they've never heard of this before. You've never heard of this before. So the way, I don't know if you know the way the legal system works, the entire legal system works on what's called precedent. So in other words, if I'm an attorney today trying the case here in Dallas, Texas, in order to make my point to the judge in my trial that I'm trying, I'm going to go back and look at all the cases that have been decided over all the years, and I'm going to find a judge's decision from the past and draw on that. I'm going to say, well, in the year 1994, in this versus this case, the judge ruled this. That's called precedent. That's the way our brain works. Everything, when a new artist comes out, you go, yeah, man, they're a lot like Ed Sheeran, or they're a lot like Jay-Z, whatever. You're going to and then you give them a point of reference, something that it's like, well, guess what? With this event, there's no point of reference. There is no precedent. People don't know what it is. So I understand it's harder to promote something you don't understand. So you're going to have a little bit of faith. And I'm just telling you guys, faith one time. Believe this one time, that if you give people this event, they're going to have a better chance to have the moment of insight than they've ever had. And you have got 8 days to sell it at this incredible offer of only $3.99 and the free MP3 included. When that time period is up on March 1st, we'll make a post and we'll let you know what the new offer is. But I'm telling you, there is no way it's going to be as good as that. So we've got 8 days to go crazy. The point was 2 things tonight. Number 1, to let you know when the offer is going away. And number 2, to just describe it a little bit more so people have a better understanding. Get your people to watch that video on the page. It's having a powerful effect. We're going to get the other clips out for social media as soon as we possibly can. But don't wait for those. You have got 8 days. Make phone calls tonight. The night is still young. If you have people on your team, you need to talk to them one-on-one. There are possibilities. They're going to give you objections. You need to overcome the objections. I understand that even at the discounted $3.99, while it's a great value, it's still not cheap. I understand that. So they may have an objection that they can't make it, they can't afford it. You got to take that objection away. You got to let them know you can't focus on what you're paying. You got to focus on what you're getting. Guys, I spent $40,000 on my college degree, and what did I get from it? I mean, what do you get with your college degree? Do you get a guaranteed job? Like I with my college degree many years ago, I got out and I put it out my resume, and I was offered a job for $16,000 a year. That's what my $40,000 investment got me. After spending about the same amount of money going to network marketing seminars, my income was over $250,000 a year. So it's not what you put in, it's what you get out. And by the way, if someone had to spend $400 on a college credit, they would do that in a heartbeat. And everyone would go, oh my God, of course, it's a college credit. You got to be kidding me, guys. Like right now, and I'm not, if you're in college, God bless you, may the force be with you. If your kids are in college, that's great. I went to college. I'm not trying to bash college. What I'm trying to say is everyone would say, oh my gosh, go get a loan. It doesn't matter how much. I don't know what it costs for you. I paid 40 grand for 4 years. I went to school a long time ago. My daughters, I scratched checks for them to go to school. They were more like 60 grand a year, and they didn't go to Harvard and Yale. They went to good schools, but they didn't go to schools like that. I can't even imagine what do you get for 1 year of college? What do you get? Close your eyes. That's what you get. You got to go to all 4 to get the degree, and that's not even guaranteed. And even if you get the guarantee. So my point is, I understand, but it's only $400. It's not $40,000. It's not $60,000, $100,000. It's $400. So help your people put this in perspective. But you can't do that with a blast, or you can't do that with a post. It's got to be one-on-one. And I'll leave you with this thought, and we've been saying this a lot lately, but I want to make sure you get it. When we're getting people in the business, we're not selling, we're sorting, right? You don't want to sell people to join your team, because the main thing we want the people on your team is to go get customers and to go get other affiliates. And they're not going to do that if they're not excited about what they're doing. So selling them on doing it is ridiculous. You sort, you show it to them. Some will, some won't. So what? Once they are in, make no mistake, when it comes to events, you are selling. You get them to the event. I'm just telling you, you can go, and we'll get the stats on all this stuff here within the next 12 months. But I'm just telling you, I've been doing this for many, many, many years. And I'm just telling you, there will be statistics showing the people who go to the events and the people who don't go to the events. And there's going to be stark differences in earnings and all that kind of good stuff. So do yourself and do your favorite team. Get your people in this event, have a little bit of faith, and push hard over the next 8 days so people get the best value they possibly can. I just got to tell you, the first 2 events went incredibly well. The trainers brought the heat. They did an amazing job. The staff did a great job. And we're just getting warmed up. These events are going to get better and better and bigger and bigger. And it's going to be one of the most phenomenal parts. There's so many great things in MDC, but I'm telling you, one of the things you guys are going to be most proud of are the company events that we're all going to be putting together and co-creating. So I'm very grateful to have finally been able to do a couple events, but this next one, I'm telling you guys, is a game changer. So thanks for your time. I want to finish this up. I don't like to keep people very long, and I know you guys have presentations to do, so you guys go make things happen. Make sure you get signed up tonight if you're not, and make sure you sign up at least one more team member tonight. That's it. That's all. That's all I got. You guys have a wonderful evening. God bless. And I can't wait to see you all in Nashville, Tennessee in June.